Okay, so here's what I've got so far. I've got this extra set of plates cut up and just out of some scrap angle iron. And they're all drilled and primed. These are the holes that go through the legs of the tower. These are what bolts into the foundation. So generally how I do this is, in fact, somebody commented, they say, Wagon Master, why don't you do this? But this is actually what I do anyway. I put this tower up 3 times now. And what I do is I bolt my tabs up to the tower, and then I take my plywood and I use it as a template, and then I bolt that to that, and I found the center of the plywood, I found the center of the tower. All my centers line up. They're within about 1/8 of an inch. And then what I usually do is I'll put a plate here, I'll put a plate here where these 2 holes are, put a plate there, and then what I do is I run this and I sandwich the plate in here, and then what I do is I take and I bury this all rod in the cement, and then I take a level down here on the wood, and when my pad's all poured, or when the base is all poured, I screed it, and then I put this down on top with this bolted to it. So then about, I don't know, usually like the next morning I come back out and I just undo all the nuts and I pull the plywood off. Then I can bolt these back down to the cement pad and then hook up the tower to it. But what I've decided to do this time, and I'll just use, I'm not going to disturb those, but I'll use this as a, this other one here is a sign. So generally what I do is the leg of the tower sits like this, right? And then the bolt goes through the tower. I have another bolt that goes through there. And what I undo is I undo the top one, and then I let these hinge, and then they just go like that. And it's worked out pretty good. Now the last 2 installations I've had, I just use 1 bolt in each base, and I'm not really thinking about that. You know, I've done this at 2 installations. One installation was a little over 15 years. The other installation was about 12 or 13 years. But in this location that I'm in now, I get a ton of canyon winds. So what I decided to do was double bolt it. And so each one of these will get 2 all rods. And the ones that I can't bend because I broke them, you know, I just put another nut and bolt and washer on the end so it can't pull through the cement. I don't ever think it would. But anyway, I've got 2 of them. But what I decided to do this time is sandwich the leg. That's what these are for. So the leg of the tower is going to go in here like this, right? So each one will have 2. So each one of these legs are going to have 4 2-foot J rods going through them. I think they're like 19 inches or something. But anyway, so I'm going to really double it up this time, because like I say, these canyon winds are gnarly here where I live, really gnarly. Previously I lived about 4 miles north of where I am now, and on the other side of the canyon we didn't have those winds, but maybe once a year, rarely. But now living here, this is like a every other night occurrence. And anyway, so what we're going to do is I've got this primed, I've got all these done up the way I want them. These are the new ones that we made, the ones that are going to sandwich, right? Used to sandwich the legs. And so I've got them primed with Rust-Oleum primer, and then I'll brush some of my old trusty Rust-Oleum on here by the quart. This has been in my garage, it's kind of cold, so I'm gonna have to go set it out in the stand. And I'll just use a foam brush to brush it. That doesn't have to be perfect. We're not painting the space shuttle. Okay, all right, well, there's your update. Let's continue on. And then I'll set these out in the sun after I get them painted. They'll dry today and tomorrow morning. Then I will go and bolt all these brackets back up to the tower and drill the holes in the template for the new bolts that I'm putting through. And Darren said use J-rod, so I guess like for footings and stuff. And I've never used that before, but I don't know if I've just had dumb luck or not. I don't know what grade all rod is. I'm sure it's barely grade 5. I'm just assuming. So what I'm going to do is these other brackets that I'm making, I'm gonna take Darren's advice, Needlebender 99, aka UDX 99. I'm gonna take his advice and use them. So I figure 4 bolts sunk in on each side should definitely take care of this little tower, and I should have no problem.